We all know hiring top talent is everything. But here's a thought. What if the very tech you rely on to find that talent is actually a threat to your business? That's what we're digging into today. The hidden dangers lurking in the systems we all use to hire.
Okay, let's just start with a number. 74%. Get this, 74% of companies openly admit they've hired the wrong person for a role. And the cost? We're talking about 30% of that person's yearly salary. Just gone. It's a huge, costly mess.
Which brings up a really uncomfortable question, right? You've spent a lot of money on fancy tech to prevent this exact thing. But what if that technology isn't just failing to help? What if it's actually the cause of the problem? So, to figure out how we got here, we've got to go back to the beginning, back to the promise of automation. I mean, there's a reason leaders went all in on these tools. We're talking, of course, about the applicant tracking system, the ATS. It's the software that's supposed to handle everything from screening resumes to managing the whole workflow. And it's not just popular, it's practically universal. A whopping 98% of Fortune 500 companies are using one. It really is the bedrock of modern HR. And look, you can't blame them. The sales pitch is amazing. They promise you'll hire faster. They promise you'll find better candidates. They promise to cut down on all that tedious admin work for your recruiters. Heck, they even say it'll help with your DEI goals. It sounds like a silver bullet, which is why it became the industry standard. Okay, but here's the twist. This is where the story gets ugly. Let's talk about the first huge problem, what I call the high-value talent leak. Because that system you bought to find the best people, it's actually throwing them away. 75%. Think about that number. That's how many resumes get tossed into the digital trash can by an ATS before a single human being, not one, ever sees them. 3/4 of your applicants just vanished. No human review, nothing. And this is where it gets really interesting. You've got this major disconnect. In the C-suite, 67% of leaders are saying, yeah, our system works great. But down on the front lines, what are their recruiters saying? They're pulling their hair out, telling anyone who will listen that great qualified people are getting screened out all the time. It's a huge, massive blind spot inside the organization. This isn't just theory. Check out this real-world A/B test. You have a former Google engineer, 5 years of solid experience, who submits a beautifully detailed resume. What happens? Boom, automatically rejected. So they try something different. They strip out some of the detail and just stuff the resume with keywords from the job posting. And the result? The system flags it as a top match. It's the same person, rejected and then praised by the same machine. So who are these people the machine is missing? Well, it's not just a few here and there. We're talking about STEM PhDs with really specific niche expertise. We're talking about diverse candidates whose job titles don't fit the standard mold. People with global experience, career changers with amazing transferable skills, military veterans who use different terminology. These are the innovators, the problem solvers, and your system is designed to ignore them. But hold on, because it gets so much worse. It's one thing to miss out on good people, it's another thing entirely to actively let bad actors in. The talent leak is a problem, for sure. But the rise of the imposter, that turns this from a hiring headache into a full-blown security threat. You don't have to take my word for it. Listen to this quote from a chief security officer at a Fortune 100 company. They called the ATS the soft underbelly of organizational risk. Just let that sink in. The tool you bought for efficiency has become your biggest vulnerability. The front door is wide open. So, how are they pulling this off? Well, it's pretty sophisticated. Imposters are using AI to generate perfect, fabricated resumes that are tailor-made to beat your system. They're literally scraping the bios of real, talented people off sites like LinkedIn and tweaking them. Then they use burner phones and fake addresses to slip past any simple verification checks. They're turning your automation against you. And here's the crazy part. This stuff works. An MIT study looked at this and found that the AI-generated fake resumes were rated highly qualified by these systems 72% of the time. The real resumes from actual professionals, only 43%. Your system literally prefers the fakes.
It's programmed to be deceived.
And this isn't some academic exercise. There was a huge Fortune 500 company that went on a massive hiring push for software engineers. They were leaning heavily on their ATS and remote interviews. Well, a few months go by and the security team starts noticing some weird activity. They dig in, and what do they find? 4 of their new star hires were complete fakes, sophisticated identity fraudsters. The threat is absolutely real. Okay, so that's the problem, and it's a big one. It's scary, but let's not just dwell on that. What do we do about it? It's time to talk solutions. Let's get into the executive's playbook, what you can actually do right now. This all starts with you, as a leader, asking some tough questions of your HR and recruiting teams. Questions like, how are we actually checking our ATS for all the great people it's rejecting? Are we judging candidates based on real-world performance data, or are we still just counting keywords? At what exact point in our process do we know for sure that a candidate is who they say they are? And what is all this automation doing to our diversity goals? These are the questions that start to expose the cracks.
And the answer is to build layers of security and authenticity into your process. You can't just trust the resume anymore. You need to require things like video ID checks early in the process. You have to use real-time practical skills tests and case studies, not just talk. And you need to have a plan for ongoing monitoring, like digital fingerprinting to make sure the person who starts the job is the same one you interviewed.
You see, this really comes down to a fundamental shift in thinking. Technology itself isn't the bad guy here. Our blind faith in it is. We've been pursuing automated hiring, where the goal is just to replace human judgment to be faster and hit our metrics. That's the risk. Where we need to get to is augmented hiring, using technology to enhance human judgment, to help us optimize for the actual quality of the talent. And if you need any more convincing on why this matters, just look at this data. Where does your best talent really come from? Well, 35% from internal referrals, another 25% from executive networks, 18% from your recruiters doing direct outreach, and those public job postings that your ATS is managing, that's just 12%. The best people, your true game changers, are almost always found outside the main system you're relying on. And that brings us to the final, crucial takeaway. It's a quote from Dr. Elena Martinez, an organizational psychologist, and it's brilliant. She said, the most dangerous assumption in modern recruiting is that efficiency and effectiveness are the same thing. And that just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? Your system might be super efficient. It might process thousands of resumes an hour, but is it effective? Is it actually finding you the best talent and keeping your company safe? That's the billion-dollar question every single executive needs to be asking themselves right now.